Hey guys, welcome back to the International 3 group stage. We're going to be watching Navi versus Zenith Game 2. My name's Purge. I'm here with Luminous. We are at the Beyond the Summit studio in California. It's wonderful here.
You want to tell
of
them
the
our
air
address
conditioning.
too? Or?
I mean, I was really close. I was
Okay.
like,
You know, a lot of Purge soccer out there just taking out their notebooks right now.
yeah, man, I saw those comments.
Yeah.
I'm looking right at you.
Well, this is actually a very important game for Navi as well as Zenith because these teams, respectively, Navi sitting at 3-2 record and Zenith at 2-3. So for Zenith, if they could even out the series at 1-1, they'll finish 3-3. Not exactly what they're looking for in a day one performance, but in a very tough group like that, that's not really a bad score. Whereas for Navi, if they don't go 4-2, I think a lot of people out there will be like, what the hell is Navi doing? Because they should be going 4-2. In fact, they should be going 6-0 in this group. I think that's what a lot of people expected. But for them, they need that 4-2 record by winning this match.
Yeah, Fnatic's beasts, but I think they can take Zenith. I definitely think so. At least based on the last game, it didn't look that difficult for Navi. If anything, it looked pretty casual. I mean, it's pretty typical for them to play a weird play style, but they were definitely pulling it out effectively. Are you drinking all the drinks?
I got this myself.
Oh, okay. He's
My
just been
shake.
they got food for everybody, and he's on cup number 2.
Yeah, man.
So
I mean, I'm casting the most, right? So I
Yeah, that's
deserve
true.
that extra cup.
those extra calories, you'll
Yeah.
need them.
Well, we're going to see Weaver once again. And if you guys missed game number 1, just tuning into this particular stream because you want to watch Navi game, you missed out on one of the most amazing performance from Weaver and from Havos. It was just really solid. Single-handedly carried the entire team from a somewhat early game deficit. But let's see if we could do it again. Meanwhile, we're going to see OD and Visage once again for Zenith.
Well, we'll see if it can do more than the last game. What is Navi's answer going to be? Do you think it's going to be a Shadow Fiend again? I mean, it worked last time. They could just easily gank the Shadow Fiend more. They killed him once mid, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they did.
And then they gave up because he stopped being there. He was like, okay, let's give up the mid lane, go farm the jungle. Maybe they'll ban a Shadow Fiend, though. I mean, Navi gets 2 picks here. I doubt that we'll see Zenith draft the Shadow Fiend. So, I mean, they've got the same heroes, Darkseer, Weaver. I don't think they care. They don't have Visage, but...
I guess so. We saw how Shadow Fiend got shut down in lane, and sure, he got the recovery in the jungle, but that was more so of Navi creating space for Dendi, and you can't just count on having that type of mid-game always, right? So perhaps they feel like, alright, SF got us the win, maybe we don't try again. Again, I always think that Weaver on a mid in a 1v1 against OD is okay as well. Obviously,
Did
OD...
you say Weaver?
Yeah, Weaver. 1v1.
Really?
Gemini attack. The 6 base armor on OD makes it really difficult for him to get that harassed. And he will start losing mana in such a way that he can't even Sakuchi. So that is an issue. But I definitely seen in the past where pro teams have tried Weaver against OD mid with like mixed success. So, but let's see if Navi's going to do this. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that sounds a little iffy to me. And besides, Havos plays Weaver so well. Who cares? Just give it to Havos. Let Dendi suffer a little bit. He does a nice job suffering, even in matches that he should lose really heavily. We just saw it a couple days ago. Dendi had a lot of trouble, I think, versus a Puck. I believe it was against Kaipi, I believe. He had a lot of trouble. Or I guess that was defense finals, but has a lot of trouble early game, comes back later. Doesn't even look like he had a bad early game, and that's pretty typical of Dendi as a player.
I'm suggesting Weaver mid so I could have a Pudge safely. Because Pudge mid against OD is just not happening.
Jody.
Pudge against OD is just not happening. So, and I want to see a Pudge, right? So
It's like 1 banish and you can cast 0 spells.
Yep, and you get outlaned horribly by OD.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could rot him, but he'll just banish you and walk away. I mean, OD has a pretty good advantage in that one. So
Well, maybe we're not going to see a Pudge this series, which is breaking everybody's heart. What about Zenith? What are they going to draft? Razor is one of their go-to hero. In fact, I think they picked Razor practically every game that we have casted them in.
Yeah.
And they banned it up themselves. So Tinker is a possibility. Hopefully they don't just suicide lane him anymore. What else do these guys play? They have wacky strategy. We've seen them play Axe in the past. They play things like Timbersaw.
They themselves banned Alchemist, so we won't be able to see Ice carry their team that way.
Juggernaut is one of their go-to hero as well.
Really?
Yeah, Ice usually play on the long lane all the time. But he's not their long lane player anymore. XY is. And in fact, XY so far has not been turning heads in terms of playing really good off lanes. Because every time I see him play off lane, he's been dying quite a bit.
Yeah, I haven't watched too many other games before today, but he definitely did feed a lot on that Windrunner game.
Yeah.
But they still won, so it's okay.
Well, last game was a little bit of a stretch. So let's see if Zenith is actually taking quite a bit of the reserve time thinking about this particular pick, maybe angling for a particular direction of how this game is going to go. But what Navi is strong right now is they're really good at laning, I think. Weaver is going to give you that strong lane in terms of either staying alive against aggressive trialing, or if you sense weakness, like against a Tinker, for example, you just go for kill. Darkseer is going to give you good lanes, and Chen is going to give you that good lane in the jungle, getting that EXP, getting that gold. So there's a line being picked up. That's something that we don't see too much.
They burned a lot of time to do that, by the way, but probably their main goal is number one. Line is one of the best disabling heroes in the game. As a support, he is usually a little ineffective. First of all, pretty low HP, pretty low base armor. He takes a lot of levels to be effective. He gets really good starting level 9, essentially. He'll have his great Earth Spike, his Hex will be a long duration, and he'll have Finger of Death. But even if you get him to 6, he's pretty happy as a hero. And Hex does do a pretty good disable at low levels, but the main goal is they'll have enough disables where they should be able to shut down Weaver.
Yeah, I really don't like him as a support because I think he truly shines once he hits level 11. And as a support, you rarely get that kind of experience gain early on to hit 11. And the reason between hitting 11 is that your Finger of Death cooldown gets so much better. That level 1 Finger of Death is really good nuke. It's really high damage for a level 6 ultimate. But at the same time, the cooldown is like, it's
Goes from 160 to 100, and then 40 seconds at the
It's such a long
level.
cooldown at the first level. You just use that thing on the mid lane or wherever, and you feel like, when is it ever coming back off cooldown again? It's longer cooldown than average.
Yeah,
by
doesn't
comparison.
scale very well though. It's only 125 damage extra.
Well, I guess the
But-
cooldown is more important for it, but
Yeah.
it depends. Zenith is also one of those teams that like to take fights very frequently and very aggressively, and not having a Finger of Death during your skirmishes could be a big drawback. So now it's Puppy's turn to kind of go into the tank, as he has about 5 seconds of reserve time.
Yeah, they're spending a lot of time drafting this round. They
It's
will
the
grab
Shadow
the
Fiend
Shadow
again.
Fiend again.
Yeah.
So Shadow Fiend likely to be mid against the OD. Weaver will be safe lane again. Darkseer off lane. Chen jungle, and all they're missing is one support. Rubik hasn't been banned yet, but if I was Zenith, I would immediately ban him as soon as they take their pick here. Don't
have
let
to
the
ban
Rubik
out,
through.
yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be Kuro's hero 100%. It's their best support. He can make team fights. He would love to steal any of Lion's abilities, except for Mana Drain. Screw that spell.
Right.
Um,
Any of OD spells are okay. Any of Visage spells are decent. Gyro spells are okay as well. So yeah, you gotta ban that Rubik, because if not, that thing's getting picked so fast.
if not Rubik, what do you think? Ogre Magi, right?
No, that's Alliance's hero. That's Alliance's support. I guess Kuro, he's only playing Visage or Rubik. I haven't seen him playing anything else, right? Have you?
I don't think I have. Can't. It has to be a ranged
He plays
disable.
Lena sometimes. Too.
Yeah, I was gonna say Lena, but they need a setup. They don't have a setup yet, so they definitely need a range disable. That's one thing that they're lacking a bit compared to last game. Last game they had an
Earthshaker.
Earthshaker and they had a Visage, which
yeah.
is some range disable, pretty good range disable. They're gonna be lacking that heavily this time, but they will be able to take towers really fast at least. And since Zenith hasn't drafted their offlane yet, looks like they're banning a bounty hunter. They don't have enough range disable, so they don't want to deal with it. Very wise.
Zenith is looking for a ban. And, well, are they gonna not ban something?
Reserve time.
I think they're just gonna
10
random it.
seconds remaining.
It's got to be Rubik. I would ban Rubik myself. I think that's
When you
likely.
time out like this, there's actually no
5
ban.
seconds
So
remaining.
2.
they ban out the Earthshaker.
I don't know if that would have happened.
I'm not sure as well. I mean, I haven't seen Kuroki play the Earthshaker. Obviously, pretty sure that he can play.
He can definitely play 4 roles. When he was on Mouse, I believe he would play the 4 position, so he'd play Chen and Enchantress very often.
Okay.
So he definitely could have played the Chen and had Puppy on the Earthshaker, but Rubik. Guys, chant Rubik. Come on, this is the only way
Rubik.
that'll come through. Rubik.
10 seconds,
10 seconds to Rubik. All right, 13 seconds to Rubik.
They're like, can we work a pudge?
5 seconds.
All
Alright,
right,
Jakiro. That is not a Rubik.
It's a 2-headed Rubik. That's exactly what we
That
thought.
yeah. I mean, he doesn't have spell steal, but it's definitely Rubik.
So less reliable on disables is one problem here, but he does have a lot more damage output, I would argue.
Yeah, he does. He has better AoE defense against tower as well.
Yep.
Well, maybe not level 1, because Fable is actually pretty OP. The range of it.
Plus, you can do vacuum on ice paths. That's really
That's
nasty.
pretty sick. Yep.
You can also do wait.
10
Whoever gets
seconds
banished by OD, set up the combo immediately
Yeah,
afterwards.
sure.
So
There's a lot of utility for this
5
particular hero in the
seconds
game, and
remaining.
let's not forget he pushes decently as well. If ever people does scale that liquid fire, I think people are losing value by not selecting it. But Enigma is going to be the final pickup here. I'm surprised because Enigma against Vacuum, it's going to be hard for him to land it against Ice Path. But once he does have that BKB, though, he is king in terms of landing that
Yeah.
big black hole, and there's nothing for them to cancel it.
I think this is an offlane Enigma as well, because they don't really have an offlane hero. Ice is playing support line. X Freedom is playing Visage. So I think this is an offlane Enigma. He may just start in the jungle and they'll do like a defensive tri-lane with a mid. I don't expect them to go aggressive, even if it is, if it's a Weaver with a Jakiro and a Chen, that's not safe to tri-lane against. Like, Weaver is not a hero that you're going to be able to kill easily, aggressively, so I was hoping that Zenith would have just one solo, or one single support in lane. That way it could be Lion getting a lot of pull EXP, but one of those guys is going to have to sacrifice, and I assume it's going to be Lion over the Visage.
Yeah. Well, actually, Lion needs more levels, right? So
I would agree.
yeah.
But I don't think he's, I don't know, it's hard to say. He's not as good at harassing because his armor's lower. But
I was actually hoping for something like a Brewmother last pickup for Zenith, because we've seen in the past where your Brewmother sends the Spiralings in the jungle, and your Lion gets like the EXP in the jungle. But
oh yeah, that's right. That was pretty cool.
It's pretty cute strat, but Zenith goes with a better or more safe long lane in the form of an XY Enigma. Let's see how he's going to be playing this game. Yamate is going to play his Outworld Destroyer again on the mid. Ice is going to play the support line. We have Freedom on Visage, and Ice on the Gyrocopter.
I don't anticipate this to be an offlane Enigma. If there is an offlane Enigma, usually you have regen and some stats. He has a bunch of money in the bank. He hasn't spent any of it yet. No courier, no wards, just 3 clarity potions. So at the very least, he can jungle. I just don't think he wants to start in the offlane, simply put. Will they grab anybody? It's going to be Havos spotting out Ice. They will know that the enemy team is here, and I think they're going to be fine. So we'll go over Na'Vi really quick here. For the Radiant, Puppey is going to be playing Chen. Havos is on the Weaver. We've got Funnick playing Darkseer. Kuro is going to be playing the Jakiro, and the last player is going to be Dendi on the Shadow Fiend. They are currently up 1 game versus Zenith here. So if Zenith wants to take it 1-1 in this best of 2 or this 2-game set, then they need to pull out the stops here.
Yeah, again, this is a very, very important match for both teams. Na'Vi, if they win this one, they finish their day in 4-2, which is not good, but not too bad for Na'Vi. Whereas Zenith, if they win their match, it's going to be 3-3, which in this very competitive group, it's not a bad score for them to have as well. So double damage is going to get snagged by Havos on the long lane, or on the bot lane. He's got to be very careful. And yeah, XY is going to start up in the jungle. The fact that he saved like 460 gold, I wonder if he's going to be doing anything, like a big burst of item purchase a little bit later on. But
are you speaking about the Enigma?
Yeah, the Enigma.
I mean, Soul Ring first is obviously the go-to item for Enigma, because you can use it every time you cast Demonic Conversion. It'll keep your mana pool pretty full. So wait for 30 seconds. It costs 800 gold. Once he gets that, he can be well on his way towards another major item. And that's one of the things I like most about Enigma, is that his farming is so easy in the jungle. I mean, it's not absolutely cake, but for any pro player, Enigma jungling is very reliable and very easy. Yeah,
there's like specific jungle paths where you could accelerate, but I think one of the fastest timing that you can get it on is like 4 minutes to hit level 6. But right now, I think the most important creeps we need to talk about is the creep on the mid lane, the damn Harpy Storm, because it is winning the lane now for Dendi.
Yeah, it's a really lucky pickup. The downside is that it's going to cause Puppey to not be able to farm that much himself, but if that does give Dendi an advantage in the mid lane, it's going to help a lot.
It's definitely giving him advantage, because now Dendi's got like 4 last hit in a row, the 5th one coming in right now. He's going to get the 6th one as well. And Dendi, well, he's back in the lane.
That is insane, guys.
That Harpy Storm just won the lane for him.
Yeah, think about the last game. Dendi had, what, 2 last hits when OD was working with about 6, and just with a little bit of sacrifice on Chen, they can all of a sudden give Dendi equivalent damage to OD, and that's what's happening right now. He's hitting for about 70 damage, OD's hitting for about 74, and he's going to be able to actually break even in this lane.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that he's like, look at the damage on Yamate. Yamate doesn't have a salve, so he's going to be off the lane for quite a bit. If he stays for a little bit too long, this thing also has like an insane cast range. He's forced to get a salve, and that thing almost... Harpy Storm? No!
Don't
He's
die.
Also gonna... Oh,
he didn't
then
get it.
he even missed a deny on that one.
The ultimate sacrifice, giving its soul to Shadow Fiend. So Puppey can resume playing his actual hero. Oh my god, look how lucky he is. He also gets stacked Wildkins, which means he can just tornado this to catch up for the EXP that he lost. Like, what lucky stacks going on?
Ain't luck, all skill.
Yeah, he did it on purpose, guys.
Yeah, meanwhile, by the way, talking about stack cams, we also have a pretty big stack count over here. Funnick is going to be getting himself a little bit of XP. Maybe Shadowfiend's going to come out with a couple of raises. Whatever the case is, Na'Vi is... What's that?
Or Puppey.
Or Puppey, sure, yeah, with that tornado. But yeah, whatever the case is, we're going to see some Na'Vi members accelerating further ahead in terms of experience. Not even a single kill is happening so far. Is Zenith getting enough out of that top lane? Because they're definitely having a couple of free farm supports, but these supports are only level 1. What's going on here? Lion level 1.5. Okay, Visage 2.5. But at the same time, I feel like Lion has... He needs to be at like level 3 soon.
Yeah. They have been stacking and pulling some camps, which might be why, but honestly, all the lanes are pretty easy. I mean, essentially, the only lane that's actually contested by 2 people is the mid lane. So,
Yeah.
unless you guys want to watch other ones pull and stack camps, I guess we'll just watch mid, huh?
Yeah. I mean, there might be a little bit of tower pushing on the bot lane coming very soon. And let's see how good the rotation is coming out from Zenith. I really like the Wild Wing Ripper as a pushing creep because it basically adds a Ring of Basileus to your team, right? It's plus
Yep.
3 armor for the entire creep wave. It does decent damage to the tower, and they're now working on against it.
So the Iron Shells are now clearing up the creep waves. Phoenix can be able to power level from this a bit. Used to be a lot easier using a smoke, but
Yeah.
and Navi is now pushing on the bot lane.
Yeah, there's 0 rotation being made. We don't see Enigma coming in. And I think that's where having a hero like Jakiro is a little bit more effective than having Rubik. Rubik sees a hero behind a tower. He can't do a damn thing. But Ice Path obviously has a little bit more range. It comes out a lot quicker as well. So the initiation is there. There's a tier 1 tower. And there's just, because of the 0 rotation, they could even go for tier 2. I think Zenith gave away way too much. And they haven't got anything in return.
Yeah, they can't push nearly as fast with these heroes. They have a Visage, a Line, and a Gyrocopter. Sure, they can AoE, but I mean, this is not Jakiro, this is not a Chen. Like you said, the 3 armor on the Toughness Aura, plus the Ring of Basileus. This is a Vlad's in the early game, and look how tanky these creeps are.
Yeah. And finally, we see Enigma making that rotation, but the damage has already been done. There is, like, well, this tower is already taking, like, a 1,000 damage, but more importantly, that tier 1's going to go down. Havosi's even farming those Eidolons in the lane.
There's the Ice Path trying to catch him. He's going to Sakuchi pass. He'll have to Malefice this guy, I think. A couple more hits, and XY is just going to stroll on out. Another Eidolon falls, and this tier 2 tower is gone already.
I mean, generally, you see Western team making rotation with the off lane and a support. That rotation came way too late, and the support didn't even come. So, 2 towers goes down. I guess the only saving grace is that XY is okay. He's not dying right now, and he's getting some farm. But as a Weaver, Havo gets to sit here and just keep harassing XY. I don't even think XY is going to get EXP. Too much of it, at least.
And he does have to worry about getting dive constantly. Like, he's got a Malefice, but that's it. It's a very limited disable compared to what Weaver's going to be doing. So, Havos will have to come back and farm the jungle. Not the best hero for that, especially just picking up an Aquila now. So, it will cost him some EXP potentially, but I mean, if he can get a solo kill on Enigma, he's going to be really happy. Or even just kill the Eidolons. They're not too difficult. Their armor is fairly low, and he's definitely going to be hard to kill.
Yep. You do see the line trying to make a rotation gank to the mid lane, but line early on, he's just so damn slow, even with boots of speed picked up. But obviously, you do have Yamate to set you up with the Astral Imprisonment first. But they need to find the correct angle. And then he says, man, forget that. I don't see support heroes up top. Let me just go in the jungle, raise a couple of neutrals, and be A-okay.
So line now level 3, shifting back top. Since Funuk did get his bottle from the jungle, he is pretty self-sufficient. He's going to pop it again for more mana, and Ice is just kind of deliberating how to get in there. I mean, he's got his boots picked up, so he's relatively fast, but Line's a slow support. They'll need a lot of disable to pick off the Darkseer at this point.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that they even made that gank attempt. It's such a low percentage play. They need to keep stacking. They need to hit 5 or even, ideally 6 on those supports, and it's just not happening right now. OD is not winning the lane nearly as hard as he did last game, and I think he is going to be going for the mech for the team now, because I guess in theory your Enigma could get it as well. Yeah, it seems like he's going to get it, excuse me.
Well, he did pick up Tranquil Boots. I mean, they're pretty good in the early game. Because
Yeah, he's probably going to dispel that for a 4-staff later on.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're probably right there. So Dendy's still sitting in high ground. He definitely doesn't want to go in the middle of the river. It's where you're least, most vulnerable, actually. Can't really see any ganking supports.
All right, take that back about the 4-staff. He buys a headdress recipe, so it's going to
be miscommunication, possibly. No longer do Buckler as well as mech armor buff stack, so
okay.
that was patched recently,
he then sold it again, so Yamate trolling all of us. XY is going to be picking up the headdress, so
okay, good.
The great mystery of who's buying the mech is now somewhat answered. We're still not sure yet,
One
though.
person. Only one person will be purchasing it. He can definitely make a 4-staff with it. It'll be fine.
Well, it's a very, very slow passive game starting, and I think that Zenith is losing the kind of the EXP war. If we just want to look at the EXP path, graph, excuse me, it's kind of all over the place right now, but Chen, to me, is the little bit more important hero hitting level 6. And on the opposite end, Ice is not close to it. So, well.
Oh, it's some damage on Freedom here. Phonic just going to... Oh, that was with an invisibility rune. That's pretty funny. Cast a Diamond Shell, use the Invis, look for some kills, and almost picked him up. That's always a scary feeling. You're like, why is my HP going away? And you're like, oh, there must be an invisible ghost with an Iron Shell on it.
The game is bugged. I'm losing HP.
Yeah. Who's hacking? Somebody's hacking.
Yeah, the big difference between this game is that it feels like Zenith, they just don't have any angle in terms of initiation. They do Astro him right now. Anybody's going to come in. The Wild Wing Ripper trying to do a little bit of body block. There's a Malefice, and that's 3 stun for sure. The Hex is going to cold through.
Oh, great Ice Path. Dual Breath as well, and there's the ulti. Ice is actually going to go down.
Wow.
He was not able to get the Earth Spike. Great decision-making from Dendy, and he's back in the fight. There's the Black Hole, but Dendy doesn't care. They all go down. 3 dead heroes, and this is a tier 1 that is in dire trouble.
Is under attack.
Wow, I mean, this is the second game in a row where Funding has gotten Wall at level 6. What is your thought on that? Like, it's a spell that costs a ton of mana early on, and a lot of Darkseer players just skip, says, you know what, let's just max our Vacuum. Like, why even take Wall when we don't have Vacuum? But we're seeing it to be somewhat effective just as a nuke early on.
Yeah, I mean, it does 150 magic damage. It's going to create illusion, which people might run into, but most importantly, those are also going to right-click. And it doesn't do a ton of damage. It's 70% outgoing per illusion, but even if we look at Lion, for example, this is still doing 30 damage or right-click, at least. It's more like 35, something like that, which is pretty reasonable. There's no other way for Darkseer to do 150 damage in 1 skill point. There, oh, great